Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Hager number 36N 4x16 US10. This is a very typical and common a pull plate. We over the years have sold bushel loads of a 36N plate from Hager. This is going to be a 30 series plate with a 6N pull is how this works, and 4x16 is the plate size. Incredibly typical and common. Everything about this. Who's going to buy these? Well, I'll tell you where we sell these. When they're remodeling a restaurant and the bathroom doors. Very typical and common. On the northwest side of Chicago, these are installed on probably every restaurant bathroom door there is. 16-inch tall. The 30S is a 4x16 is the plate. So 4x16, that plate is going to be 50 thousandths thick, which is the typical thickness like you'd see on a push plate, a pull backing plate, or a kick plate. Now that pull handle that's there, that's the number 6N pull handle, and they've obviously just drilled a couple of holes through this bronze in order to get that handle attached. Okay, and there it is. The finish is US10. That means that it's satin bronze. It would be more appropriate to call this 612 because it means satin bronze on a bronze base material. And if the surface seems at all dusty, scratched, anything, that's just because there's a peel-away protective film on this. That's all there is to it. A little evidence of that right here. Okay, this is going to include a couple of through bolts. Obviously, you're going to bolt that through the door by removing these bolts. Then you're going to have the panhead sheet metal screws that will finish off the holes in a complementary finish. They may be brass. Yeah, they're non-ferrous, so be mindful when you're installing these. Those screws will be soft. They're not steel. So you'll remove those two screws. You'll run that through the door. Now, generally, you're going to see a push plate on the other side with those two holes drilled and then the bolts sitting out on top of it. But you'll very often find that to be not the case because what they'll do is countersink the face of the door itself if it's a wood door and then attach that down to that. Now, that's not obviously advisable because, you know, particle board wood is not intended to be proper reinforcing for this. You can also, well, technically you can also order this in a application if you had a different pull where you could make them mounted back to back. The 6N pull would not permit that because you can't through bolt that or set it up for back-to-back mounting. But you'll either somehow you're going to drill holes through that plate and then you'll have those countersunk washers on top of your push plate, or you'll conceal it, but again, that's not the intended way for that to be installed. Then, of course, your screws, where you can see that they would be needed. Really nice US10 or 612 finish bronze. A very rich bronze finish. Very nice looking. Let's switch now to the screen view, and let's take a closer look at the supporting documentation. Here is the item that we are looking at. 36N in a US10 finish. 5.5-inch center-to-center pull. That's the 6N in the part number with a 4x16 backing plate. You know, you can do this pull on a 3x12, a 3.5x15, a 4x16, 6x16, 8x16 plate. You can do it on any size plate you want. It's just flat goods that Hager will shear and, you know, bevel on the edges and then prepare for the fastener. So if you want a plate that's a different size, it can be accommodated, to be sure. So again, a 30S plate with a 6N pull, bronze, center to center on that 6N is 5.5 inch. Let's click on the link here to the product catalog. Let's do that. Okay, so you're going to be able to review a chart of all of these different plates on this document. Now let's take a look at a proper cut sheet for this item. So you're going to see the 6N. So that's just the pull. You can buy the pull on its own, and there it is. This cut sheet just shows the 6N. Gives you that chart that we were just looking at. in terms of an overview of push plates and how to order them. Hager's system is a bit... it's easier to understand when you have the pull number and then you know what push plate you're using. And indeed, the third page here shows the plates. Now, if you want to see all the information, well, we have that. All of the trim and auxiliary section as it pertains to push and pull hardware is here. So let's do a find function for 6N, which may not come up because it's not indexed. So these are all of the particulars regarding the 6N, different finishes, etc. Very common pull. Doesn't mean it's the one you should want to use, while it's my understanding that the clearance on a pull handle isn't specifically defined for handicap compliance. This would not be an item that would be very relatable when it comes to handicap compliance in terms of the center to center, or, and more importantly, the projection. You'd probably want to look at a pull that would give you a greater projection. 2.5 inch clearance from the face of the door to the back of the pull. You know, not necessarily it having to be offset, but just a greater clearance. Lots of pulls here, as you can see. We continue to scroll through, and then we're going to get to, eventually, the push plates that are here, and here they are. So, you can do it on other push plates as well. Why would you change the push plate? I don't know. You might want a radiused corner. You might want rounded ends. You might want a... Bear with me. You might want an ADS because it's 1/8 of an inch thick, a super thick plate. Whereas the 30S is, as I had said earlier, just 50 thousandths thick right here. Okay. Beveled edges, so you could slide your finger down that edge of the plate and not expect to hurt yourself. You don't want to go out of your way to do that, but nonetheless. Engraving can be done. That's not uncommon. You can prep that plate for a cylinder hole as well. That's not uncommon. I would say that prepping it for a cylinder hole is more common than any engraving that you'll see. But all of that can be done. And this 30-page document is handy because it will allow you a better global view of push and pull plates from Hager. Okay. Now, here is, again, the item that we are looking at. And both of those links are listed down below. Now, when you click on the link here to the manufacturer's page, that's going to allow you to pull up not only all of the Hager products that we sell, okay, by means of this horizontal navigation, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. There are 650 pages worth of hardware in this catalog. Also, there's a link to the 2010 ADA Standards for Accessible Design. We mentioned that earlier. Why would I have it linked here? Well, Hager makes lots of building products. And building products, as they are installed in the public space, will certainly be governed by the federal law passed in the early 90s called ADA. So that document is there. You might say to yourself, what height do I want to install a pull plate at? Or how tall of a threshold should I use? Or where to install that grab bar? Hager doesn't make grab bars, but they do make items that are governed by this. So that's that document. There's also a link to the Hager Keying Service Manual here. That's a couple of dozen pages on the Hager, well, 16 pages anyway, on the Hager product line when it comes to their own keying system. They have their own keyway, they have their own depth and spacing data as listed here, etc. Let's wrap up this video on camera. Okay, this is a very nice example of Hager hardware when it comes to a finish. And again, you're going to see this in lots of applications. You could certainly see it installed in a residential application as well. There would be doors that would certainly be appropriate for such a push and pull combination. You'll generally find them also installed in just applications where the client wants to be able to pull the door closed as they throw the deadbolt. A garage door is a perfect example of that. People will also use plates like this to cover up holes that were on the door as well, rather than a pull only. If you're converting a door that had a cylindrical lock prep on it and you want to pull that off and put a push and pull on, Yeah, your hole might be a little bit low, but you can bias this up a little bit higher if you wanted so that you're pushing it. And that plate could be used for that application. You know, double acting doors in residential applications I have sold where you would normally just use 2 push plates on such an application. I've had people order back-to-back sets where they want pulls on both sides. They want to be able to pull that door open rather than just push because of the activity on the other side of the door. When you have food preparation happening in an area and then you've got a double acting door and then you've got a room on the other side of that door, sometimes it's not permissible to really push that in. You want to pull that door open and then walk through, even though the door double acts. Wherever you're going to use it is wherever you're going to use it. Okay. The name Hager has been synonymous with commercial building products since the mid-19th century. No, you didn't hear me wrong. You didn't hear me incorrectly. That, yes, 150 plus years they've been in business. I believe they're 5 generations. A name that is very synonymous with commercial building products and has been for all that time. If you have any questions on the Hager 36N in a US10 finish or any other Hager product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you very much. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.